This is the code in action video for chapter 5. In this chapter we learned how to deploy our application with Docker and how to set up continuous integration and continuous delivery. So to run the chapter, first open it in Visual Studio Code, then open a new terminal. Install the dependencies as always. Now after installing the dependencies, we first need to make sure that no database server is running. So I'm just going to stop mine here. Now no containers are running. Now we can go to the terminal and run docker compose up. That will build and run containers for the database, the backend and the frontend. And the reason why we can't have another container running is because it will try to allocate the same port for the database container and cause a conflict. So now this will take a while to run. It will first build all the containers and then it will run them and attach our shell to them so that we can see the output. Now we can see a lot of output. That means that our database is running and our backend is also connected to the database, and somewhere in there we can also see the front end. Right here we can see that the Nginx server is running. So now we can go to localhost 3000 in the browser. And as we can see, our front end is running. This is from the Docker container. So we can also see that this is a different instance of the database, not the same as before. And again, we can create posts normally here. And it works just fine. And we can also see that we created a GitHub action CI run here, and we can see that our CI pipeline is working successfully. It's building and linting for different Node.js versions. And we can see the same for this is the frontend CI. We also created a workflow for the backend CI here that also works. And we created one to deploy the blog application to Google Cloud. And this also works and shows us the deployment URL here. So we can click that to open it in Google Cloud. So in this chapter, we learned how to create Docker images for our backend and frontend. We also learned how to use Docker Compose to start the different containers in a dev environment. Then we learned how to deploy our full stack application to the cloud using Google Cloud Services. And finally, we set up CI and CD pipelines to automate testing and deployment of our app using GitHub Actions.